Welcome to the Dink and Dish podcast. My name is Barbara Brodowski. I am here with fitness legend and icon Tammy Lee Webb. And we are I like talking with my hands, obviously. We are two pickleball enthusiasts and fitness experts who love the game and want people to play for a long time. Trying to help
Yes.
everybody not get hurt because what, Tammy Lee? Dinking is not
Is not a warm-up.
warm up. And I
Yes,
swear it's
warm up,
picking up.
warm up, warm up.
Warm-ups are warm-ups. Dinky. And matter
Yeah.
of fact, you and I, we haven't talked in like 2 weeks. So Tammy Lee went on a safari. So we haven't talked and so much has happened. But one thing my girlfriends and I started doing is instead of like, you get on the court, you start dinking. So we do our
Yep.
we do our proper warm-ups, the bouncing, all the things I say to do, lunging, skipping, hopping, jumping. And then we go to the baseline and start hitting the ball. And it can bounce twice sometimes. We're just trying to move our
Yeah.
bodies, and then we move in
Right.
for the dink. When
Yeah.
the game calls us in, then we dink. And so that type of a warm up to me is so much smarter than just start dinking. Like what?
Yeah. I know. Why do we start with the dink?
I don't know.
That's
I don't know.
that's a good point because usually what I try and get my girls to do, not my girls, but the girls that I'm playing with, is that if they start dinking, and usually I'm already warmed up before I even get to the
Yep.
court because of my activities throughout the day, but they will start dinking and then I'll say, okay, now let's move back and keep
Yes.
moving back and moving
Yep.
back and moving back so that we are
Yep.
gradually making bigger movements. You've got to lunge a little bit more, move the body more than just at the net.
We just
So
reversed that, and
yeah,
it felt really good because when you first start playing, you kind of like, you don't know, like, you got to calibrate everything. Like it's a calibration thing. Like,
yeah,
oh, that was too much or that was too soft or so. And also we let it bounce 2 times. Like we're not playing. We're just trying to move our bodies to get to the ball, not in any crazy way. And then when we come in, then we dink. But I think it's smarter because the dinking, I understand the dinking for the warm up because it's good for your brain. But I think going back to the baseline and actually hitting the ball from the baseline and getting the rhythm, hit, bounce,
yeah,
hit. Like
yeah,
I love
yeah,
that, the syncopation of it, and
yeah.
our brains actually need that in order to play well.
I'm having a lesson this week with one of our pros, and I'm going
Mhm.
to ask her about what she would suggest as a proper warm up when you're just coming
Yeah.
out. So, proper warm ups being, I have played sometimes like at 8 in the morning,
hmm
completely different because you better be warmed up. You do not want to
hmm
get out there cold versus playing in the afternoon and,
hmm
of course, in the evening. So, for instance, like tonight, I'm playing at 6. I've already by then I will need a little bit more of a warm up
hmm
because I've had a gap between my activities and
hmm
the playing pickleball. But it will be interesting to hear because usually when we're taking lessons, we will like two people will start up at the net, the others at the baseline.
hmm hmm
And then, keep moving in and keep moving in, which I
hmm
also think is a pretty good little warm up
Yeah.
because
And you
you're
can
not
practice your
going
drop
full
shot
out.
too.
Uh huh.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
nice to practice those shots. I don't think I don't want to say there's not a wrong way. There is a wrong way to warm up, and that's not warming up.
Yeah, don't do
That's
anything.
pretty simple. So we
Yeah.
haven't talked literally in 2 weeks, and I wanted to tell you that I think we're very similar in the way that we approach pickleball. Like I love the game; it's fun. I am competitive, but I'm also there for a good time. Like
Yeah.
I'm there for the socialization and hanging out with the girls, and everyone I play with is so flippin' funny that I enjoy the game so much because of them. So we
Yeah.
played that interleague play, and it ended now where we would play different country clubs around the Fort Worth area. And we were kind of scrappy. We're not. They were all 3.5 and above, and we're like 3.5 and 3.2 to 3.5. So we're
Mhm.
good players, but they were more. All of them were better than us, and we knew that going in
Yeah.
because they wanted to move up. They wanted to move up a league from last year. So the first round of games that happened, um, these two people pickled two of our girls in the first round. And so
Wow.
the country club that shall remain nameless, were feeling pretty good about themselves. And you get an air about people. I don't know
Mhm.
how to describe it, but there's an air about people. So we're on the court with these two, and they just pickled two of our friends. And I think they thought that we were going to be a walk in the park. And
Oh.
yeah, and I felt that. I felt that. And then they wish I had my paddle. They would like hold the paddle up to their face and they'd talk. And I was like, what? I'm like, oh no, oh no, this is not happening. Tammy Lee, I turned into a different person.
Got
Nothing
little
was
competitiveness came out. The
nothing was
horns?
funny.
Ooh.
Yes. Nothing
Yeah.
was funny. They were no longer funny. I would no longer say good shot. If they said good shot, I am doing a podcast right now. Oh, look at mail delivery. It's pickleball clothes. I'll say that right now.
That's
Rude.
hilarious.
But anything that happened, it wasn't, I wasn't the same person because I just wanted to beat them. And we
Yeah.
beat them the first game. And I was like, then I had a strategy because I was getting in their head because I would like hold my paddle up and talk to Tony. And I was saying things like, I'm not saying anything, but now they think I'm saying something. So now, now I'm in their head because they think I'm saying something. And I wasn't saying
Right.
anything. That's literally what I was saying. And we won that second game too. And at one point, I was playing great pickleball too. I hit that ball and I hit this lady right in the chest. Not on purpose, by the way.
Oh, bagging.
Not on purpose,
Right.
but usually I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I just kind of like turned around and walked back to the baseline, like either hit it or get out of the way. Like a man, I feel like a man, hit it or get out of the way. I was
Yeah.
so over them. And then at the end, when I had a chance to like calm down, I was like testosterone on. I can't even tell you. I don't even know who that person was. I can't even relate to her right now. But I realized it wasn't, they didn't like each other. The people we were playing, they had no chemistry. So they had no nothing. They were great players
Yeah.
though, but they
Yeah.
didn't have you play with people and you have great
Yeah,
chemistry.
you either dance together when you have a
Yes.
partner that you know what they're doing, you
Mhm.
just follow. It's like a dance. You have a good
Yeah.
dance partner. But when you
Yeah.
come out cold, it's like, yeah, you can be a great pickleball player and you might be able to get by with it, but just imagine if you were able to sync with them. So it's
Yeah.
interesting that you say that, because keeping in mind that you, at the beginning, the only reason that came out in you, because I know you're very generous and you're
Yeah.
always happy and complimentary, is how they had responded
Their
to the
energy.
first two. Yes. And their
Felt their
whole
energy.
energy thing. But keep in mind, I mean, it was a competition, right? It's a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
competitive.
And you have to
So
get so
why
many
not?
points. Yeah. It's about getting
Yeah.
points. And, we didn't win the day, but we won the court and we got enough points that we were proud of ourselves. Like but I'll tell you
Good.
what, Tammy Lee, I was like, who was that? The blonde, I could say the blonde tornado. That was the blonde tornado. She kind of came in and I like playing pickleball and I like having fun. And one thing I did too
Yeah.
recently is I signed up for a 3.5 and up league and I'm like a 3.47. So I asked, hey, can I sign up? And the coach goes, of course you can. Like, you'll be fine. When I play in that league, I feel like I'm underwater the entire time. Like they're great women, but they're not there for the good time. They're not there to BS and they don't talk at the baseline.
Oh,
They don't have any time for
they're all
me,
business.
and I have to be all business. So I have to change my kind of the way I play with them, but I'm
Yeah.
going to get better playing with them, but it's not as much fun for me. It's like,
Yeah.
it's not as much fun. Well, this week
Well,
we are going
good.
to talk. Hey, now you haven't played in a while then?
No, but I did the day after I came back from a 22-hour flight. Is I took a lesson with
Mhm.
3 other women, and I felt like our pro was like telling me, she's like, "Get up here." I'm like, "I am." I mean, everything was slow motion,
The jet
and
lag
I was
is real.
just it's so real. And so that was kind of hard at first, but I love that. I like to get my body moving. In fact,
Yeah.
on our way, when we arrived in Africa, that's the first thing I did. Once I dropped my bags, I went to the gym and got a
Yeah.
workout in and tried to get blood flowing and moving
Yeah.
my body. But other than that, I did play for the first time yesterday, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, same thing. We turn on music, we laugh,
Yes.
and we yell at each other too, but all in good
Yes, so do we.
faith. But yeah, so that was it, and I'm going to play again tonight. I'm looking forward to it, and
I'm
yeah,
in California
I've
right now.
missed
So
it.
on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, the ladies play. at my dad's house, and on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday it's the men, and I play with the men. And the ladies are good, they're fun, but they're a little more beginners. So I always tell my
Mm.
dad, I'm gonna come over and practice my soft game. Like I'm gonna come over and practice my soft game. And there's another lady there who's the same level as me, and I'm like, Diane, we're gonna practice our soft game. We did not.
No.
We tried. We were like, bam, bam, bam. Like,
Yeah.
what happened to the soft game? Like, I couldn't de-escalate it. Like,
It's not in you. And it's hard to do to make that transition from
Yeah.
being a banger to, okay, I'm going to do soft, because then you make so many mistakes and it's like,
Exactly.
oh
It's
hell, I'm just
frustrating.
going to
Like,
slam it.
smash it down the middle.
Yeah.
Just gotta
Yeah.
smash it down the middle.
I know. One of
Totally.
the girls said that yesterday. Rose, she's like, every time I do that, she was trying to hit it soft.
Just
And I
soft.
said, don't, just hit it. Just smack it. Okay.
I'm like, just tap it over. I just want to just tap it over. And the next thing you know, I'm smashing it. hitting
That's right.
it. And we kept looking at each other like, well, how's this going? And she's like, it's not going well at all. So much fun. But tomorrow will be more competitive for me. But still, even playing with more beginner players, I really do try to focus on like my top spin,
Yeah.
things that I want to master, but I can't really master when I'm playing with people because I'll just keep hitting the net, or,
Yeah.
I'm like 1
Yeah.
for 5 on a good smashy top spin right now. Like I'm not that proficient at it. So I need to drill it. Like, but when do you have time to drill?
Well, I'm going to do a lesson on Friday, and there's certain things that I'm going to work on that I need to work on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's fun sometimes just to go out. Like my neighbors are, they're probably, I don't know, 3.0.
Mhm.
And I'm maybe the same as you, but
Mhm.
I like going out and just practicing,
Yes.
just I'm able to practice with
Yeah.
them, and it's not like a serious game or anything. And,
Yeah.
and at the same time, hopefully helping them, and they're in
Yes.
return helping me because I need
Yeah.
to work on these drills. So
Isn't it funny when I watch people play, I know exactly what the shot should be, where the shot should be placed, how the shot should happen. I know what went wrong. But when I get on the court, it's like, blah, 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 like none of it. Like I can watch it, like,
Yeah.
I can see it all, and it's all in my head, like what should happen, what didn't
Yeah.
happen, how. But then when I get on the court, it's like survival. Just hit it over the net, keep it in the court. Hit it over the
Yeah.
net, keep it in the
Yeah.
court.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
funny.
That's funny.
Yeah. Well, we were going to talk about Achilles tendons today, so we're going kind of back down the kinetic chain, mainly because what started this whole conversation was my sister was on an antibiotic, and it was a strong antibiotic, and the doctor said, "Hey, you can take this, but don't exercise at all, like because you'll because ruptured Achilles tendons tend to happen." And she's like, "What?" So we did some research, and it found out that it was actually marathoners who, and if you know about ultra runners or marathoners, especially the competitive ones who try to do like the sub threes, their bodily fluids are coming out at the same
Yeah.
time that you don't even know until you finish the race and your socks are brown, which is gross, but it's actually true. So what's happening was there's so much bacteria in a certain area that would cause bladder infections. They were taking this antibiotic prophylactically. They were taking it to help prevent it in case of. And then this high number of runners were getting Achilles tendon ruptures. So they put the two together, which I appreciate that, but more studies need to be done. So then we started looking more about what's happening with Achilles tendon ruptures and pickleball. And you can take it from there because I'm sure we know of someone where this has happened. And if you can just tell us why, who, what, where, when, why, and how, because it is an injury that will take you out for a long period of time.
Yeah, I personally haven't had one, but I've had a couple of friends that have,
Mhm.
and one where she didn't even immediately recognize it.
Mhm.
And then she realized, after like a couple of days, she could barely walk on her foot. Her foot was swollen and it was torn. So
Yeah.
then she had to go in and have surgery. But typically what will happen relating to pickleball is, as we know, pickleball is so fun. And you
Mhm.
go out, like, I can imagine going out and just playing for an hour. Who goes and plays pickleball for an hour? That goes by like that, right?
Right.
We go out, we play for 2 hours. So
We pay for
now we will not even ask someone if we know that they're a 1 hour. No,
Mhm.
we need a 2 hour person.
Mhm.
However, is that if you are doing something repetitively, overusing it, and your body is not used to it, that's when you can rupture or have tendonitis. There is
Mm-hmm.
because you're overusing it. So let's say, for instance, one of our girls did this. So we normally play for 2 hours. Well, she decided because she's in Vegas part time. She goes to the public court. She ends up playing for 4 hours.
Mm.
I'm like, girl, I mean, seriously, that, first of all, your age, 2 hours is just enough, okay?
Tell
Four
my dad
hours,
that.
now you're risking the
Yep.
chance, because what happens with pickleball, as you know, is there's a lot of stop and start.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of plantar flexion and
Mm-hmm.
dorsiflexion, which is pointing the toes down or pulling the toes up, because you're lunging, you're running back or
Mm-hmm.
pushing back. So whenever you do that, if there's anything tight in that tendon, it's going to aggravate it because it's
Mm-hmm.
getting overused. So let's look at first the visual of it. So it's the calf muscle or the gastrocnemius. So your calf muscle,
Mm-hmm.
which, by the way, I have the biggest calf muscles. Like, I can't even fit in normal boots.
Genetic.
It is just like, I remember going to Nordstrom's and they're trying to bring me out boots and he's trying to, get it over my calves. And I'm like, forget it. Just forget it. But anyway,
It's
so
like a
you got,
scene from Cinderella. No,
yeah, no,
no. The
it doesn't
sisters,
fit.
no.
So it's the gastrocnemius and then the soleus, right in here.
Mm-hmm.
And then all comes down and connects into the heel. And so obviously that's pushing up, coming up on your
Mm-hmm.
toes, and then your heel going down. And if you are a person that wears a lot of high heel shoes,
Mm-hmm.
stilettos, I don't do that anymore. I've had broken ankles. I'm too old for having these high heels. But so if you tend to be in high heel shoes for long periods of time, what you're doing is not shrinking, you're tightening up those tendons and the
Mm-hmm.
muscles. So it's real important that you stretch that before
Mm-hmm.
getting on the courts and your foot is flat, and
Mm-hmm.
you might be doing this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you want to make sure that you're taking the time to do like I just up on your toes, strengthening your
Yep.
calf muscles, right? Up on your toes. Put your foot up on a step and
Mm-hmm.
then drop your heel down.
Mm-hmm.
You can do that either both feet or just one at a time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's those muscles that play in, and it's the heel. So you will know if it's tendonized. It's painful because
Mm-hmm.
you can't. I mean, even if you run your finger along the backside of the calf down to your heel, it's going to be painful. And
Yep.
that tendon is tight. So, but if you rupture it,
Oh.
that is extremely painful. That
Nothing's
usually
worse when a client
requires
says,
surgery.
I heard a pop. Like
Pop.
nothing's worse
Yes.
than when someone says, I heard it pop. I'm like, oh, well,
That's
that's above
not a
my
good
pay grade
sign.
now. That's not
Yeah.
what do you think about foam rolling before or after?
I love it. I love foam rollers. So anytime, and not just on the calf muscle and the Achilles, but on your feet as well.
Oh yeah.
Anything you can
Yep.
do on your feet, because your feet have so many bones in there and
Mm-hmm.
all those muscles. And guess what's holding your whole body weight up and moving?
Right.
So it's also important, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a future podcast, is shoes.
Oh
How
yeah.
important shoes are and the protection of your feet. But yeah,
If I
foam
had
rollers.
if when I get to the court now, because I'm so hyper conscious of this, because someone at the courtside, great player, very active, she ruptured her Achilles tendon. And then was reading comments about pickleball on some page, and the guy's like, well, the number one injury is, ruptured Achilles tendons. And I'm
Mhm.
thinking, okay, but why? So then I start thinking about remember step aerobics back in the day and the Golgi
Yep.
reflex. If you step off the step and you drop your heel down and back up, remember that was
Back up,
the bouncing was
bouncing.
bad. The bouncing was bad
Hmm.
because that Golgi tendon wants to pop you back up. It wants to pop you back up, and your
Yeah.
brain. I'm so into appropriate perception because of longevity. My longevity coaching, I try to help people live a long life. And one thing I have people do is get on their toes and bounce up and down.
Bounce. Yeah.
Just on their toes, go boing, 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 boing.
Yeah.
So now you're telling your body, hey, look, I can do this.
Yeah.
There's nothing I'm going to do in the next 2 hours that I'm not ready for, because I've bounced, I've lunged, I've skipped, I've hopped, I've done the things. So there's nothing, if you warm up properly, nothing's going to surprise your body. And I
Right.
think that mind body connection, and you drop your heels down and kind of bounce it. So I tell all the girls now,
Yeah.
everyone give me
Just bounce.
10,
Yeah.
give me 10 bounces. Just boing, boing,
Yeah.
boing, 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 boing. Because that way your brain's like, oh, we can do this. But if your brain's
Right.
not ready for that, that's when that happens too, because your
Yeah.
brain didn't get the signal to release that. You know, like
Yeah.
the actin-myosin filaments, I like that little, like how they grip, and you got to teach them to grip and release and grip and release. And if if
Right.
it's not talking correctly, I mean,
Yeah. No, there's a whole mind body connection there. One of the things that I have a trampoline, a mini trampoline,
mhm,
and I love getting on the mini trampoline. And even if it's just for 2 minutes, getting on
mhm.
there, getting the blood flow, the lymph nodes open, and just
Yes.
bouncing my heels, my feet, just everything is flowing and moving. The thing about warming up prior to playing pickleball is if you think about mimicking the majority, or if not all of them, the movements that you're going to be doing during this activity,
Mhm.
then that's what you need to be doing. So if it's like you said, bouncing up and down with your heels, lunging to the right and back, nothing very vigorous, just lunging out to the side, lunging forward, just turning around, backpedaling, but turning to the side because
Mhm.
we don't want to run backwards. And then the same movements for, am I going to do it overhead, underarm, just it's
Yeah.
just moving your body and getting it prepared
Yeah.
for a more vigorous workout.
And so your body's not going to be surprised. Like, it's nothing. So when you're 20 minutes into pickleball, your body's not surprised. There's nothing you can do that's going to surprise your body, because you did it all in the warm up. You did it while you were dinking, while you went to the baseline warming up. You did it while you did your hop, skips, lunges, twisting. You did it
Yeah.
all. So when you're really playing, so the first game's always like, I always joke about the first game. The first game sucks. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
First
We
game
call
is
it a
never a
warm
good
up
game.
game.
It's
Yeah.
never
It's a
a
warm
good
up game.
game. Yeah, it's a warm up game. So, but after that first game, you should be ready. You should have done all the things to make it ready, in the warm up, and also the first game. Because the first game, I always laugh, like your brain's like, what?
Yeah.
It's not quite. It's not firing on all cylinders, and you have a new partner playing two new people. Like there's a lot of. So we play with like a group of 8 women. We play everybody. Uh, uh, it all depends on the what we're doing. But if we have 4 people on the court, we play everybody. Everybody plays 2 times, and
Yeah.
you go through it. So then
Yeah.
the first two, like then you know who they are, how they play. Like, but the
Mhm.
first game, we're like, what, is she on today? Or is she off today? Is she?
Yeah.
There's a lot to take into consideration.
Yeah.
The
So
first game.
we always say, okay, we're back around. We get to play over that first
Yeah,
game. That was
exactly.
pretty much our warm up game.
Didn't
Okay, let's
count.
do
Didn't.
it this time.
Yeah.
We're ready. Yeah.
What do you know
So
about statins? What have you heard about statins? Because I did hear something about that.
yeah, you mentioned that. That's the first time that I had heard that, but it doesn't surprise me because whenever you have medication, it's going
Hmm.
to affect your body somehow, some
Hmm.
way. But what did you read about that?
So I read, and I have it right here only because I was so intrigued by what the guy was saying. In the article, it says some research suggests that statins may increase the risk of tendon ruptures, especially of the Achilles tendon, especially the first year of use. Statins may affect tendons' extracellular matrix by inhibiting the synthesis of matrix, a big old name there, and the cell cycle regulatory proteins. So what's happening is it feels like it's blocking some of the proteins that need to go to the muscle fibers into the tendon. it's
Hmm.
it's it's blocking, because statins is a blocker, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think what the most concerning part about that to me is how many people are on statins.
Yes. They
You will
hand that
be
stuff out like candy. Like
you will
candy.
be
And
given a statin before you're asked what is your vegetable
yes.
intake or your water.
And you know what? I'm not saying that people should not take
Oh
them.
no.
I had a client that, sure enough, he went and had his uh, assessment, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we got to get you on statins." And I'm like, "Okay, before you do that. He goes, no, I'm not doing it. I go, thank you. So I got him to one of my best friends who does holistic nutrition and coaching and everything. And through the right, proper nutrition, our training, he has brought that down.
Yeah.
He has just gone through a detox cleanse, and everything his numbers are great. I mean,
That's
it
awesome.
is amazing.
As you get older, I notice with my blood panels, I need to get my blood work done next week, and I'll see how they're progressing. But as you get older, everything tends to go up. So as things are going up, you need to make adjustments in your diet and your lifestyle.
Yes.
So when they do go up, they don't go up so sharply. You can actually, try to modulate how they are going to go up, because your numbers do go up as you age. But you
Yes.
can control at the level in which all the bad things go up. I talk about my blood pressure. I'm genetically hypertensive, and that's a personality trait too. I talk fast, I walk fast, I rev fast, and my body naturally releases epinephrine. So I think if I probably did biofeedback and meditated 8 hours a day, I wouldn't have to be on blood pressure medication. But I'm still on it, and it's fine. It's like I can keep it low, but I can tell you when I skip one dose, my bottom number goes up. Not my top number; it's my bottom number. Yeah, it's interesting. So I always want to stress, medication is good for genetic problems when something is when you're genetically predisposed, or to give you a chance to figure it out. Like if doctors, listen, you've got to get on this now because this number is so high, you're going to have kidney damage, you're going to have damage to your vital organs. Okay. Then take it, but then figure out, okay, what else can I do? And then hopefully get off of it, It's like, did you know that most people with high blood pressure, it's because they're dehydrated? When you go in and you get, you test for blood pressure a couple times, they're like, yeah, high blood pressure. Never once do they say, how much water have you had today?
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. There, sometimes I will go in, and if I'm nervous, my blood pressure is going to be higher, and I'll just and I'm like, you know what? I know that that's not what it is.
Yeah.
Give me 5 minutes, and I can basically sit there and meditate and lower it down.
Yeah.
Same with my heart rate, same with everything. But one of the things that I just found that I started doing that I didn't realize is if you take your body temperature. So normal is what, 97, 98?
98.6.
Okay. If it's lower, there's some other things going on. It could be hormonal. It also can be that your body is not processing your metabolism, your metabolic rate is low. And it's based on your body temperature.
Yeah.
So I've gotten a habit of taking this now, because I do have some things that I'm working on, but I've gotten it up now to 97.
Oh, that's
when
awesome.
I started, I think I was
Good for
at
you.
90, 95. I'm like, what?
But it's funny how we have to be this is off topic now. We have to be such an advocate for ourselves when it comes to information and what's best for our body. Because it's really easy just to drop in and go on a statin, to go on high
because
blood pressure
we're a
meds.
society that wants, just give me a pill. Let's fix this. Give me something to take.
And then I was watching a show this week on like PBS or something. It had a doctor who stopped practicing medicine and just went into a neuropathic, what's the word? Sorry. A naturopathic,
Naturopathic.
Way, because she said she was realizing that the processed foods, the food industry and the drug industry are like working hand in hand, and they're keeping us fat and sick.
Yes.
And they got a pill for that, or a shot for that, Tammy Lee.
Exactly. No, my naturopath, same thing. I was asking about her background. She said, well, I went into nursing thinking I was going to help people, and all we were doing is pushing medication.
Yes.
We were just putting a Band-Aid on. We weren't fixing it. She goes, I got tired of it. And so that's why I decided, nope, I want to do, more natural. And I just started reading a book about, I'm trying to think of her name. I just started it. It's called Good Energy.
Oh, and that's on my list.
Is that the one? Yes.
That's on my list. Yes.
Oh my God. And so she was this young girl and, studying to be an ear, nose, throat doctor, and was, I think, what, a year from graduating
Mm-hmm.
everything. And she just finally, she just dropped it. She said, all I'm doing is, it's just a cycle.
Yeah.
I'm not fixing it. I'm just
And
putting a Band-Aid on it.
how to approach life. And listen, I've been accused of toxic positivity in my life, which would prefer to be accused of being toxically positive than toxically negative.
Yeah.
But there is something to be said about, and you and I have talked about energy before. Like, I feel people's energy. Like those ladies on the court the other day, I felt their energy. Like, nah, like, nah, nah, nah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
also, bad energy makes you sick. Period. Like,
Yes. But where everything's based on energy,
yeah,
energy, energy, energy. And I
cannot be
can
created nor
feel that.
destroyed. Yeah,
Right.
it cannot be
Yeah.
created nor destroyed. So what we have to. I was thinking about this. There's a soft topic again. We can go on and on, Tammy. But I was driving yesterday thinking something that would bother most people. I don't let it bother me. And I was driving thinking I'm very grateful that somehow along the way I figured out a way to not compartmentalize and ignore, but listen and move on.
Yeah.
And it's a choice. A lot of times it's a choice, and you have to train yourself to do that. You can't say,
Yeah.
well, I just, it just bothers me. I'm like, okay, yes, and move on.
Yeah.
It's your
Yeah.
reaction to it. So
But
I'm really
but
into reactions. And
our society, it is all about, for instance, I mean, because I'm not going to get into politics, but there, it's to divide us. And
yes.
and the more that you keep your energy in one way and it keeps coming and coming and coming, you're
Yeah.
feeding it. It's like
Yeah.
fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
And instead, there are times like when I need to be picked up, I know my girlfriends that I can call,
Hmm.
and I need to change that whole whatever just went on. Okay, I'm going to wash that of me. In
Hmm.
fact, I do a lot of this, eliminate, and then
Yeah.
I go toward the energy, if I'm not feeling it myself, of
Hmm.
needing to be provided with that.
Yeah.
And even what we're talking about here, our body is going through is energy. When we
Hmm.
step on that court, we're creating energy with our body, but our
Hmm.
body needs it needs to have the right. It's kind of like that, when you get in a car and you let it warm up before you just
Yeah.
go zooming down the freeway.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
the same with our body and
Hmm.
movement,
Hmm.
because we're asking it to do something more and more and vigorously. But if
Hmm.
you get competitive, like you did sometimes,
Hmm.
then you're going to expect more from your body and
Yeah.
do something that you probably wouldn't if you weren't
Right.
in that frame of mind.
Right.
Anyway, sorry, I just circled that back around, but
No, that's good, because we'll have to do a whole thing on like just court energy, because I do believe that there's certain times people come on like, oh no, like I don't want to do that right now. Like, there's certain energies that's just not, and they're the ones that call it out when it's in and in when it's out and want to
yeah,
argue. Like, they're like, that's not my energy either. Like, oh,
yeah, yeah.
I just do agree with positive energy is another pathway to longevity. Like,
Very well
drink your
said.
water, eat your protein, move your body, and be a
Drink your
positive
water.
person. Be a positive person. What trivia do you have for us today?
Okay, the trivia I have today, which hopefully in the future we'll do a whole talk about this, is about paddles.
Okay.
True or false? Um, are paddles made of graphite?
I would say
No, wait,
true.
let me rephrase that. Is it, now I'm blanking on the way that it was here. So here, let me go back to it. There is no such thing as a graphite paddle. Is that true or false?
I would say false, because graphite, I would say, is one of the better materials for things. I don't know. You always hear about it being graphite, like
I
it'd be
know.
good.
Well, I think that's why the question was asked, because it's actually true. There is no such thing as a graphite paddle. All paddles have either a comsite core or aluminum. The name
Oh.
graphite comes from the fact that they are sprayed with a graphite paint and are generally a
Oh.
much lighter paddle. Yeah, I thought that
And
was
we don't play
interesting.
with it. the Jula, and we don't pronounce it Jula or Eula or Hula. It's Joola. And I'm a Selkirk
Oh,
girl.
yes. Now I
I,
remember that paddle.
I'm a
I
Selkirk
think
girl,
some of
and
our
so
girls have that.
yeah, everyone I play with has them at where I play,
Yeah.
except for me. There's a couple that has Selkirks, but like what the thing about paddles is like smoking cigarettes. You start with one, you're gonna stick with your whole entire life, I guess, because once you get one paddle, it's like
Ye-
uh, it's what I have. So, but I do want to branch out and look around because I was playing with some paddles with my girlfriends the other day. I thought I like this paddle. Why do I like this paddle? So we'll get a paddle expert on to give us the rundown about that.
Yeah, that would be
But
great.
one of them, the Joola company, and I've heard it pronounced three different ways, and I don't want to be like people think I'm stupid for not knowing, but I've heard it pronounced Jula, Hula, Eula. I
Yeah.
say Jula because it sounds sexier, but they came out with a paddle, and then I was reading an article that the paddle has been banned, like
So is it banned just in
tournaments.
competition
In
tournaments? Yeah.
competition tournaments, yeah. And then I thought, well, I don't really play in competitions like that, so it wouldn't much matter to me. But it's like, I guess it does matter because my friend Rachel has one of those new illegal paddles now. And when she was beating everybody, Kimmy's like, you got that illegal paddle there.
I'll
But
have to use
interesting,
that.
like, think about that. People, how many hundreds of thousands of paddles are out there? And like, oh,
Yeah.
sorry, so sad. It's like a recall. No, can't play
Wow.
with that paddle. I'm like, oh, wow. So,
Okay.
well,
I
this was
remember
fun.
that.
Anything else you'd like to add? We went a little longer today. Got on a
Yeah.
tangent about
No, I don't want
living
to
a
go
healthy
on.
life.
It's long enough, but
It's long
yeah.
enough. Well, this
So
was fun.
I'll try and put together some exercises
Yes,
and
please do.
stretches for the Achilles tendon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
something that get
we'll post
people
that.
just thinking about it because I don't think people. I think people think, oh, I stretched it this morning, but did you do the other things though? Like that's good,
Yeah.
but did you do the other things? Like I think it's the other things that are going to make the difference. So, all
Hmm.
right. Thanks
Okay.
for joining us. Make sure you follow us on our Instagram page, One Pickleball Prehab. That's where we post our videos. Like this content, share it. Sharing is caring, and we'd love to have more people be part of this amazing family. So, have a good
Great.
week. Bye.
Bye, everybody.